A very warm good evening to you all. We're all gathered here today this evening for the session remembering the legend Ratan Tata. So without any further ado, let us start on a very auspicious note. So for the prayer, I invite Elizabeth PJ and Amrita Menon, students of SCFS College. I request everyone to kindly rise for the prayer.
सर्वेषां स्वस्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां शान्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां पूर्णं भवतु सर्वेषां मङ्गलं भवतु सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्.
Thank you all. Now for the welcome address and introduction of speaker, I invite Mr. Algis Khalid, Vice President T.K.A.
President Bibu Punaran, Chief Guest Mr. T.K.A. Nair, Joint Secretary Anil Verma, past galaxy of past presidents here. I can see eminent citizens from Cochin, Gopal Segavan, Dr. Mr. S. Gopal and several other eminent people in the city. T.K.A. Managing Committee members, T.K.A. members, esteemed guests, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. It is my profound honor to welcome you all to this special gathering as we unite to celebrate and remember a visionary leader, a true icon of India, and an enduring inspiration to millions, the revered Padma Bhushan Ratan Tata. As we reflect on the extraordinary legacy of late Ratan Tata, we are reminded of his unwavering commitment to innovation, philanthropy, and societal betterment. Under his visionary leadership, the Tata Group expanded its global footprint while upholding the highest standards of ethics and integrity. His visionary approach transformed industries, uplifted communities, and paved the way for future generations of leaders and entrepreneurs. Today, we are privileged to have with us a remarkable individual who has dedicated his life to public service and leadership. Our esteemed chief guest, Mr. T.K.A. Nair. Mr. Nair had a close association with Ratan Tata, who served as a valued member of the Prime Minister's Advisory Council. Mr. T.K.A. Nair is a distinguished public servant and a trusted confidant to many leaders in our country. With a career spanning over 4 decades in Indian administrative service, he has held pivotal roles championing impactful initiatives that have shaped India's governance and administration. Born in Ayur, Kerala, Mr. Nair began his career as a lecturer before joining the Indian Administrative Service. In Punjab, he held key roles, notably as District Commissioner of Koshiapur and later as the Chief Secretary to Punjab government, where his leadership was instrumental in driving industrial development during the Licence Period Raj era. He also served as the chairman of the Kerala State Industrial Development Corporation, promoting Kerala's industries. At the national level, Mr. Nair has influenced positions including Additional Secretary in the Ministry of Rural Development, Secretary of Planning Commission, and Secretary of Ministry of Environment and Forest. As Principal Secretary to the Prime Minister's Office, he served under Prime Minister I.K. Gujral and Atal Bihari Vajpayee, and later as advisor to Prime Minister Manmohan Singh from 2004 to 2014. Currently, he is a member of the Board of Governors in the Indian Institute of Management, Kozhikode, the Central Research in Rural and Industrial Development in Chandigarh, and served as Executive Vice President of Kerala Blood Bank Society. Mr. Nair's impact on industry is significant, marked by his work in privatization and industrial promotion in Punjab, as well as pioneering seafood export initiatives through Marine Products Export Development Authority. He is also credited with introducing public hearing for environmental clearance and improving selection process in public enterprises. After his retirement in 2014, Mr. Nair dedicated himself to social service, founding the Citizens India Foundation with focus on health, education, and environmental initiatives. Under his leadership, that foundation has organized blood donation camps, set up telemedicine clinics in rural areas, and conducted cancer awareness and detection programs, positively impacting countless lives. Mr. Nair's extensive experience and dedication, including his notable tenure as Principal Secretary to the Prime Minister, showcased his commitment to public service and nation building. His approach combines pragmatism with compassion, mirroring the value of integrity and service that Ratan Tata embodied throughout his life and career. Honored with the Order of the Rising Sun by Japan for his role in strengthening Indo-Japan relations, Mr. Nair has received numerous accolades, including the Bharat Seva Award and a Lifetime Achievement Award for Public Governance. He has also been recognized with awards such as Excellence in Bureaucratic Service from World Malayali Council, the Mar Gregorius Award, the A.K. Nair Memorial Award, and the KPS Menon Memorial Award. Then President of Rotary Club Cochin, the oldest Rotary Club in Kerala, it was my honor and privilege to present the prestigious award to him. This honor is particularly memorable as it was awarded nearly 2 decades after the previous recipient, the legendary film star Prem Singh. Today it is equally an honor for me to introduce Mr. Nair to you all and share the stage with him. As we gather to honor the extraordinary contribution of Ratan Tata, let us also take this opportunity to hear from Mr. T.K.A. Nair. His insights on leadership, vision, and the values that bridge our past with our future will undoubtedly enrich our remembrance of Ratan Tata. Please join me in warmly welcoming Mr. T.K.A. Nair with a round of applause. Once again, a warm welcome to all present here today, especially the past presidents of KMA, esteemed management committee members, KMA members, management student chapter members, invited guests and dignitaries. Let us all now hear presidential address from KMA President Mr. Bibut Punaran. Thank you, one and all. Have a great week.
Thank you. Now for the presidential address, I call upon Mr. Bibu Punaran.
Most respected Chief Guest of the day, Mr. T.K.A. Nair, Vice President and Program Committee Chair, Mr. Algius Khalid, Joint Secretary, Mr. Anil Verma, past Presidents of KMA, Managing Committee members, most respected Venugopal C. Govind sir, all respected invited guests, dear students, the YM members of KMA, and all who are gathered here. A warm good evening to all of you. Do not pay too much attention to fame power, or money. Someday you will meet a person who cared for none of these, and then you will know how poor you are. This perhaps describes India's most revered industrialist and philanthropist of our times, Mr. Ratan Tata, who passed away on the 9th of last month. No dogs or Indians allowed inside. This was the norm in most clubs in the pre-independent India, a rule set by the British. Despite this demeaning and deplorable act by those who came into our country, stripped us of all our wealth and resources, a man called Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, or the Mahatma, taught us to embrace ahimsa, or non-violence, as a way of life. Finally, we won our freedom without any bloodshed. The ethos for the country was set. India does not have the history of invading anyone or gaining anything by unfair means. Later, the same ethos was displayed by an Indian, a man called Ratan Tata, when he took over Britain's pride, Chorus Steel, and two other flagship companies of Great Britain, Tetley and Jaguar Land Rover. But this time, he did not take over these companies for free. Rather, he paid them their fair price, despite being ailing companies, making all of us Indians proud. In 2008, when Mumbai was struck with the terror and the main target was the Taj Mahal Palace and Hotel, this leader of the Indian corporate world stood outside the premises taking control of the affairs for 3 days continuously until he made sure that everything was fine. For me personally too, it was a sigh of relief since one of my schoolmates who was dining in the Japanese restaurant there finally came out unhurt. For those of you who have visited the Taj post the attack and the renovation, especially well-decorated area in the lobby with the names of all the victims stands prominent. Each and every one of the victims' families were visited by Ratan Tata personally and ensured that the Taj Public Welfare Trust, which was formed, would take care of the relatives of all those killed with the salaries they would have earned for the rest of their lives. A high-ranking official in one of the Tata companies once told me that whenever a disaster struck somewhere, the philanthropic arm of the Tatas would silently resurface and do whatever necessary. But even the topmost officials from the Tata commercial companies wouldn't know until all was done. This legacy of the Tatas was most profoundly set by the late Mr. Ratan Tata. With such acts that have embraced the Indian population, no doubt Ratan Tata will live in the hearts of every Indian forever, and we could perhaps refer to him as the Mahatma of our modern times. Today, we have a gem of a person, the pride of Kerala, who will be speaking to us on his personal interactions and experiences on the late Mr. Ratan Tata. In fact, when we thought about this subject and discussed this with our Vice President and Program Committee Chair, Algis Khalid, the name of our past President, Mr. T.K.A. Nair, came to my mind, and I sought his advice. There was no second thought for him, and he recommended Mr. T.K.A. Nair's name. So after having his reference and introduction, when I called up T.K.A. Nair sir, his immediate response was that he would be privileged in thank T.K.A. for having invited him to speak on the great personality, Mr. Ratan Tata, with whom he had very personal interactions. Nevertheless, thank you so much, sir, from the bottom of our hearts for having accepted our invitation and coming all the way from Trivandrum to Cochin to be with us this evening. I'm sure that we will have great insights on the great man and his journey with whom you have had a very close interaction. I now request, before that I think it's a program, So thank you all very much, and let's listen to Mr. T.K.A. Nair. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Devi. Now, for a felicitation, I invite Mr. K.P. Padmakumar, former chairman of Central Bank, who was very closely associated to Ratan Tata.
Excuse my This priority that I received almost borders on impertinence. I thought of sharing one of the most lasting impressions I have had with my interface with the corporate titans of India, which I was privileged during my tenure of close to 10.5 years, both as chairman and executive director. In the late 90s, it was 97, 98, the bank had not acquired the status it has acquired lately, and we were having tremendous balance sheet problems. But the transformation of the bank had already begun. And at the material time, we were opening our corporate finance branch in the Bombay Fort area, just 3 blocks away from the Bombay House. So Mr. Ratan Tata was requested to inaugurate. The inaugural day, at the appointed time, I presented myself before the Bombay House. The moment I reached there, a message was sent to him, and he came down. So car was kept ready. He immediately told me, let us walk. And he walked with me for about close to 7 minutes or so to reach the venue. Went on inquiring about the bank, Kerala, etc., etc. And later on, after the inaugural function, he because at the material time we had just started financing our Cochin airport. I always considered that we were the first venture capitalist in India to finance an airport, because at the material time the airport was a thatched shed. The project was in its very, very formative years, and Mr. Ratan Tata made very close inquiries about the project cost, etc. And later on, after I came back, he made inquiries, his department made inquiries with Mr. Vijay Kurian, who was the MD at that time, about the project, etc., whether Tatas could participate on those lines, etc. Maybe some inquiries were made, but it didn't fructify. All that I wanted to say was that during the course of this interaction, which made an indelible impression on me, what came out was the simplicity of the man. Simplicity which you don't see in many of the corporate titans. And the lasting impression he made on the audience on that day, despite the fact that the time was very short. And it is a tragedy personally to me that I always feel he should have been given Bharat Ratna much, much earlier. Even now he is not a Bharat Ratna. And that is a reflection on the wrong priorities of our society, and the way he has transformed India's corporate world and the way he has brought pride to India. I don't think no living or dead Indian has done that role. This is the greatness of Ratan Tata. I am thankful that I got an opportunity to remember those very, very good time that I spent with Mr. Ratan Tata, although it cannot be a meaningful one as compared to what Mr. T.K.A. will be speaking about. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And after the much awaited keynote address, I invite Mr. T.K.A. Nair, former Principal Secretary to the Prime Minister of India.
Mr. Vivo Punuran, President of the Management Association, Mr. Alias Khalid, the Vice President, Mr. Anil Verma, Joint Secretary of the Association, very esteemed members of the audience. I happen to know quite a large number of very distinguished persons present here. One who has been a friend for a long time, Dr. Nair has been a colleague for a long time, and many others. I don't start taking names because that will be very boring to others whose names I do not mention. So forgive me for not mentioning the names of everybody who is present here, but I am really honored, doubly honored, if I may say so. First of all, it's a very, very rare privilege, a big honor to speak about, one of the most iconic, not only industrialists, but I may say, builders of modern India. Modern India, yes. Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru laid the foundations of modern India. And many others, like Sardar Patel, and many others who were both contemporaries of Panditji as well as who succeeded him as prime ministers, they all contributed to the development of India that we live in today. It's not something which happened overnight. It has happened over a long period of time through the sustained, dedicated efforts of many leaders and those who worked with them. In the case of Mr. Ratan Tata, I believe, like most of you who have read about him, particularly after his demise, that he was just not a captain of industry. He was not just a builder of industry or setting up of projects of, we remember the iconic projects of his, and every man's life was touched by what he did over a period of time. As consumers, all of us know that from salt to, from table salt to semiconductors, every aspect, every facet of industrial production was either initiated by him or was given a great fillip through his great empire which he built up. I pay salute to him as one of the most versatile, humane person who contributed so much without being very conscious of what he was doing, self-conscious of what he was doing, without taking credit as many others do for what he has been doing. Well, friends, I have jotted down a few points listing out some of the areas in which his contribution will be lasting. Well, two basic things which stand out, I think, which will encompass the activities of Ratan Tata. One was, of course, his forte, building of industry, and the other, equally important, was his philanthropy and his love for fellow human beings. And many of us may not even know that some of his bright ideas for new products or new initiatives in industry were born out of his concern for the common people. I just happened to, for two minutes or less than that, a little video in which he is talking about how the idea of a people's car came to his mind. He was traveling, and in front of him was a family man driving a scooter with his wife and a child standing in front. And the road was bad, and Tata was soliloquizing, thought to himself, suppose it skids. And lo and behold, the scooter did skid, and luckily the family was saved, but they had such a traumatic time. So he said that the idea of a car which is affordable to the common man was born in his mind, and that was the inspiration which led, as we all know, the rest of it is history, how he tried with Nano, and then later on the great success that it is now, particularly in in electric vehicles. So he was a pioneer, and that pioneering spirit in him was triggered by his concern for other human beings. Well, making profit is the very essence of doing a business. But there are many people we know, practically every day we come across hundreds of thousands of people, small and big, who make money, but who do not know how to spend it. They accumulate money, they have huge big bank balances, and 1 million leads to the next and the next and the next. And what is their contribution to society? See, the life of Ratan Tata, like that of many other leaders of his stature, lies in the fact that they are aware of the contributions that made them what they are, what society has contributed to the life of each one of us. Whatever be your station in life, you can be an industrialist, you can be a political leader, you can be a successful businessman, a bureaucrat, a military man, whatever you are. But all of us have benefited immensely from society. From the way we are brought up, our parents, then our school, then our college, then the people with whom we mingle, people with whom we work, they all are contributing to what we are today. If I am what I am today, it is not because of any great inherent qualities or inherent, intellectual capabilities in me. It is because of the way I learned, I benefited from all of you, including each one of you, who has come in contact with me. I believe one of Ratan Tata's greatest virtues was his total commitment to society, to the community to which he belonged. He could have led a life totally different. Now it's common knowledge, everybody knows what kind of a simple life he led. I didn't go into that. From the time I started knowing him, and particularly during the days when he was along with the late Mr. Mahindra and Ratan Tata, they are the two leading lights of the Prime Minister's Economic Advisory Council. So we have had several occasions of sharing various ideas with all these great people who are pioneers of industry and who did convince the Prime Minister, even the Prime Minister, that the attitude of government, not just the ministers, but throughout the hierarchy, what we call the ecology should be or put to be favorable to new entrepreneurs, to people who take the initiative in setting up something which practically every enterprise, whether it is small, medium or large, it contributes. Certainly, yes, regrettably some of them make unconscionable profit, But that apart, forget about that, let us take it as an aberration. But otherwise, providing employment to people, I think that is the greatest of contribution that we can make, particularly in India's context today. Unemployment, particularly of the educated, is the most pressing problem that India today faces. The manifestations of that we see, and the ill effects of large number of educated unemployed, loitering about without any clue to their future, without any hope of even earning a decent livelihood. Such people, they are a loss to society. They are, let's say that those of us who have any fellow feelings should be worried about them and also do whatever we could, whatever we can to ameliorate their difficulties. So one is creation of wealth through industrial development, providing employment. That's on the one side. And on the other side, what we saw in the great Ratan Tata was that is unlimited compassion. Compassion for fellow human beings. He was really the face of compassion in business. That is, to my mind, and to many who have observed his life and activities, credit him for compassionate capitalism. He flourished in a capitalist or semi-capitalist society, no doubt. It is still not a socialistic pattern or socialist society. Let's be clear, it's largely a capitalist society. But he showed a humanism, or the face of, the face of capitalism with a human approach. That is what he contributed greatly. Now, if I may, just for the sake of, reminding you of what he in specific areas did try and achieve with remarkable success, let me take 2-3 minutes. One is to make the Tata Group a global presence. It was he who took the Tata kingdom, if one may say so, as a Tata empire, a global empire. And this he did through the Tata Group's international expansion by acquiring iconic global brands. Notable acquisitions include, we now use it practically daily, the T.K.A tea, that was in 2000. Then the luxury brands, Jaguar and Land Rover. These are still very prestigious brand names. So Ratan Tata acquired these companies, and then many of us may not have heard about it. Horace Steel, one of the largest steel makers in the world. These acquisitions helped the Tata Group diversify beyond its traditional areas and enter new markets globally. Innovation and diversification. Tata encouraged the group to enter sectors like technology, chemicals, hospitality, telecommunication, etc. Under his leadership, Tata Consultancy Services grew into one of the world's leading IT services companies, making Tata Group a significant player in tech industry. Those of us who are in Kerala, those of us who live in Kochi, Trivandrum, we know the presence of TCS and how TCS is contributing to the, not only to the IT development, but also to the, to uplift the spirit of youngsters. Large number of young talents are nurtured by TCS in Kerala. So we have those examples before us. Then another most important aspect which normally we tend to forget, is his focus on quality and brand value. Ratan Tata emphasized high standards of quality and value, which enhance the reputation of Tata products globally. This focus helped Tata brand becomes trusted household names both in India and international. Well, practically every household of ours will have one Tata product or the other, and they are known for their quality, their durability, their high standard. Responsible capitalism. Ratan Tata, known for his commitment to ethical business practices, which he helped despite the pressures of global competition. The Tata Group, under his guidance, has been widely recognized for integrity, social responsibility, which helped establish strong relations with international stakeholders. It is because of his emphasis on these qualities that the Tata Group became an international brand name. And the other side of it, along with pursuing these great, industrial ambitions, great projects in the field of industry, side by side that philanthropy and the social impact that he has had. Commitment to philanthropy, approximately 66% of Tata Sons equity is held by charitable trusts. A unique model that channels significant profits towards social causes. The Tata Trusts, I'm sure all of us would have heard about them, which Ratan Tata chaired, funded numerous initiatives in healthcare, education, and rural development and the arts. Healthcare. Tata Trust has supported initiatives like cancer care, mother and child health programs, and various hospitals, including the famous Tata Memorial Hospital for Cancer Research and Treatment. Tata has personally funded medical and healthcare projects aiming to make healthcare more accessible. Like we talked about unemployment and how it is crucial for the development of India, particularly for the future of our youngsters. Healthcare. Imagine even today, there are hundreds of thousands of people whom even we come across who are denied access to proper health care. Not because it is not available, but it is available, but it is not affordable. So accessibility and affordability of medical care, health care, which is extremely important, drew the attention of Ratan Tata, and he paid so much of, he did take so much care in building up these institutions. Then skill development, talked about unemployment, and we know that on the one side you have a large number of people, educated people who are without jobs, and on the other we have got the mismatch, not on the other, that is because of the mismatch between the skills that people have and the required skills. Even today, even we come across such people. They are educated, but that education which they have received, or the training, so-called, which they received, does not qualify them to take any meaningful job. So this mismatch between education and employment is one of the most important aspects of development. An aspect which deserves attention, which is getting attention of the government, no doubt. The Tata Trusts have invested heavily in scholarships, education, and vocational training for underprivileged communities. That's again, we know that instead of giving alms to people, instead of doing charity once in a while, if you build up institutions and nurture the capabilities of people to be employed, to be self-employed, that's a greater contribution than making or giving some charity here or there. Well, I do not know how many of us are aware of the care which Tata Group do take for rural development and sustainability. Tata's philanthropy extends to environmental conservation, rural upliftment. Through the Tata Trust, he funded projects on water conservation, sustainable agriculture, and renewable energy aimed at improving livelihood and fostering environmental sustainability. We talk a lot about environmental degradation. We talk a lot about climate change. We talk about, the unsustainable practices and what is happening all around us in the context of, against the backdrop of climate change. Many of the industrial activities that we pursue today, even at government, they are disasters. We are burning coal, we are burning hydrocarbons. They both contribute to, climate change. They both contribute to, the increase in the temperature or global warming, as we call it. So care was taken by the great Tata to ensure that his projects and the companies that he was, supervising or running, they do care for environmentally sustainable activities and reducing hydrocarbons, burning of hydrocarbons, which contribute to global temperature rise. Well, I was trying to think, what was the Tata magic that worked in making a success of his initiatives? The Tata magic that propelled Ratan Tata's initiatives to success was a unique combination of vision, values, adaptability, and strategic foresight. Here are the key elements that set Tata's leadership and business model apart. Value-driven leadership and ethical standards. Value-driven leadership. That value-driven leadership provided by him was something which percolated into the different levels of his industrial and other undertakings. Tata's value-based leadership fostered a sense of loyalty and dedication among employees. When we always talk about human resource development, employee-employer relationship, but in actual practice, how many institutions, how many companies practice? Taking care of employees, not just waiting for employees to strike work or to protest against their conditions of employment. He took the lead in providing conditions of employment to his people, which they felt happy, satisfied, and they could contribute. One thing that we tend to forget, that if we pursue immediate gains, we are sacrificing larger gains, larger sustainable gains for the future. He was aware of that, so he took care to avoid that common mistake which normally people in charge of industries do commit. Innovation for growth. Ratan Tata encouraged a culture of innovation within the company. This emphasis on continuous improvement, research and technology adoption helped the Tata Group maintain competitiveness, especially through companies like Tata Consultancy Services and Tata Motors. Imagine, we all know the story of Tata Motors, we know the story of Telco. Now, these are all companies which did not, rest on their laurels. Once they succeed in making a profit which is acceptable in the market and which makes money, they didn't stop their activities with that. Continuous innovation, continuous improvement, so that not only your market share remains the same or improves, but you contribute to new developments. Long-term thinking and strategic patience, focused on long-term value rather than short-term gains. Tata invested in sectors and projects that align with long-term societal needs like education, healthcare, and infrastructure. I briefly mentioned about it. The societal requirements, the needs of the society of which he was a part, that prompted him to think in terms of projects and policies which will help in that area. This approach created sustainable growth and goodwill, strengthening the group's market position over time. Tata's initiatives were built on solid research and deep understanding of market needs. By focusing on both innovation and quality, Tata Group products and services became trusted names in diverse industries, from automobiles to hospitality. I mean, the hospitality business of the Tatas, like their business in automobile, I mean, wherever the Tata Group entered, they strove to achieve excellence, to be the model employer, to produce and sell, extremely competitive prices, products which are dependable, products which have a value to the consumers. A mission-driven business philosophy. Ratan Tata made social impact central to his business philosophy, which resonated with the group's values and helped it stand out from other competitors. With nearly 2/3 of Tata Sons' profits channelized into charitable trusts, the group earned widespread respect and loyal customers. 2/3 of the profits of the Tata Group companies were invested in human development and in activities which were for the benefit of the poor people in healthcare, education, etc. Tata's belief in compassionate capitalism. I mentioned that he was the main face of capitalism. Made a significant difference by addressing social challenges like poverty, education, and health. Tata's initiatives not only improved lives but also boosted the company's brand and reputation globally. Let's realize that the man's vision, even when he was doing when he does an industrial activity, he was aware of, conscious of, the needs of society. Similarly, when he thought in terms of meeting the needs of society, he thought about the commercial viability of those. So it's a fine balance between these two that enabled the Tata Group to shine in both these areas. He is a role model. I need not repeat it, it is very evident for Indian business leaders. Tata's leadership style emphasizing humility. I'm sure those of us who have had the privilege of meeting him would have been struck by his humility. Yes, I have not seen him in shirt sleeves. I've always seen him in wearing, his suit. But I tell you, you look at them and I can't describe it. The feeling that you get. He never to anybody gave the impression that he is this great tycoon, he is this great industrial empire builder and the owner of that. No. I mean, simplicity, humility was writ large on his face. Every move of his, I think you have to see that to believe it. I have had the privilege of, meeting him several times, talking to him on various matters, but they were really very, very striking. His support for sectors like renewable energy, e-commerce, and artificial intelligence not only help the Tata Group stay competitive, but also pave the way for social and economic transformation. You see, these are new areas which are transforming society, which are transforming countries, and taking the initiative, identifying those areas of the future and taking initiatives in them was again a great contribution of Ratan Tata. And not in one area. It is not only in e-commerce or e-mobility, but in many other areas, these new ideas, new innovations were promoted and fostered. What were his contributions to nation building? Well, we know that those who promote industries, those who promote trade, those who promote institutions in healthcare, industry, in education, they all contribute to society. What were his special contributions to nation building? Tata's contribution to nation building in India extend beyond his achievements in business. Through the Tata Group and his personal efforts, he has made significant contribution not only to industrial growth, but to social development and international reputation. Here are some of the key ways in which he achieved this. Transforming Tata Group into a global conglomerate. Ratan Tata expanded the Tata Group across diverse sectors, creating jobs, enhancing India's export capabilities, and boosting economic growth. His acquisition of international companies like Jaguar, Land Rover, Cora Steel helped bring foreign investments, technology, and expertise to India, elevating the country's standing in the global business landscape. These are iconic global companies which became a part of the Tata empire. And imagine the impact that these acquisitions has had on global business. The Tata Nano project, special to Tata Art, he introduced the Tata Nano, the world's most affordable car. I mentioned to you what prompted him to think of a car affordable to the common people. To make a car ownership accessible for the average Indian family. So it is the average Indian family's requirement that triggered this, this desire in his mind to produce the Nano car. Although it faced commercial challenges, the project demonstrated Tata's vision for creating products for the masses and fostering a culture of innovation in India. Through Tata Trusts, Ratan Tata supported innumerable scholarships, hundreds of them, and educational institutions promoting higher education and skill development. He has funded previous institutions like the Indian Institute of Science and the Tata Institute of Social Science and the Tata Medical Center. These are all centers of excellence today, even today, contributing to the development of human capital in diverse areas. Ratan Tata promoted research in fields such as engineering, healthcare, and technology. This commitment has advanced India's intellectual capital and strengthened research and development capabilities in various sectors. The Tata Memorial Hospital, one of the foremost institutions in cancer treatment and research in India. The Tata Memorial Hospital provides affordable, high-quality health care. Tata has extended his commitment to cancer care across India through initiatives aimed at improving healthcare access for large masses of our population. Well, even small institutions have had the benefit of support from the Tata Trust, particularly in areas like cancer treatment, in skill development, rural development and livelihood programs, supporting agrarian and rural communities. Through Tata Trust, Ratan Tata has funded programs that focus on rural development, including agriculture, water conservation, microfinancing, or rural entrepreneurship. These efforts have empowered rural communities, improved agricultural practices, and enhanced sustainable development in less developed areas. Tata initiatives in rural areas include vocational training and skill building programs and at increasing employability and entrepreneurship in local communities, which reduce rural to urban migration and strengthen rural economies. The impact of certain economic activities are very wide, not confined to one particular sector, but it has beneficial impact on other sectors of the economy. Tata's commitment to ethical activity, practices, and corporate social responsibility has set standards for Indian businesses. The group's focus on stakeholder welfare rather than just stakeholder profit demonstrates a model of inclusive capitalism, which has influenced many Indian companies to adopt socially responsible practices. Today we have even institutionalized corporate social responsibility even through legislation. So even before the government of India thought about legislation and promoting that initiative, Ratan Tata started many activities through his social responsibility projects. About 66% of the ownership of Tata Sons, the holding company of the Tata Group, is held by charitable trusts. Consider that 66% of the ownership of Tata Sons, that is the parent, the holding company. And through this, it was possible for Ratan Tata to channelize substantial resources into various causes, including healthcare, education, etc. This unique ownership model has ensured that Tata Group profits benefit society at large. We have heard about Mahatma Gandhiji's trusteeship formula. We mentioned that industrialists or captains of industry or entrepreneurs, business people, they own their undertaking as a trustee, trusteeship undertakings. That was practiced by Ratan Tata. Tata supported Indian arts and heritage, funding museums, cultural centers, and conservation of art. This commitment has helped preserve India's cultural heritage and foster a sense of national pride. Through his high-profile acquisitions, international partnership, Ratan Tata raised India's profile on the world stage. His contribution to improving the country's global reputation as a center for innovation and ethical business have helped foster international respect for India as also investment in India. Ratan Tata's statesmanship and relationship with international leaders have positioned him as an informal ambassador of India, contributing to diplomatic goodwill and cultural exchange. His contribution to nation building, we all realize, we all appreciate, go far beyond his business success. His contribution to nation building that is far more than his success as a captain of industry. He transformed the Tata Group into a force for social good, demonstrating that corporations can be powerful agents of positive change. His focus on ethical leadership, innovation, social impact, and philanthropy has left a lasting legacy that will continue to support India's economic, social, and global aspirations. His example underscores the potential for responsible capitalism to advance nation building and uplift society. Responsible capitalism, compassionate capitalism, that is what we have learned, or what the great Tata has demonstrated through his life and through his achievements. Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, First I thought of talking without any note, but then later I also realized that perhaps I may go astray and say, whatever comes to my mind, which may not be organized. So I've taken the liberty of reading out something which I came across about the Tatas. Well, on a personal note, I am nobody, to pay personal tribute or anything of that kind with you. That's all for great people to do it. But as one of the hundreds of thousands of great admirers of a great man, the mega icon, if I may say so, of Indian industry, Indian philanthropy, he will live in the hearts and minds of not only present generation, but future generations to come. So, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for giving me this patient hearing. I am very, very happy. Thank you very much. Thank you very much indeed. I do not have enough words to give me this opportunity to address such a very, very distinguished audience in the room. Thank you once again. God bless you all.
Thank you so much, sir. Now the floor is open to questions. So if anybody has any questions, kindly raise your hands so that we can bring the mic to you. Now I invite President Mr. Bibu Punuran to present a memento to our guest, Mr. T.K.A. Nair. Thank you so much. Now, for the vote of gratitude, I invite Mr. Anil Verma, Joint Secretary, T.K.A.
Good evening. I think usually when the talk is over, I think there will be a lot of questions here. I think what question you can ask about a legendary or what else you can expect from a man called Sri Ratan Tata. I think, thank you so much, sir, for narrating the whole story like a cinema, like the things he has done or the charity he is doing. Or I think it is something you can call exemplary or something beyond exemplary, isn't it? And you did it very well, and I was watching the audience and very bit of silence, and thank you, sir, for editing. I think almost everything about Sri Ratan Tata, the legendary, and I think maybe the role model for many of us, or can say the Indian legend. And also thank you. I think we have a program coming up, again a next interesting session. That's next week. A fireside chat with Dr. B. Venu IAS and Dr. N. Jaghavan IRS. And I think they will be talking about campus to retirement. I think that will be very interesting subject. Please do join us on next Friday. November 8th. And once again, thank all of you, especially the past presidents, Padwal sir, and also Padmova sir, for sharing your experience about Sri Ratan Tata. And I think everybody who met him, I think they will have only good things to talk about him. And thank you all for the past presidents and NC members, and also the new initiative of K.A, the Young Minds, members from Young Minds, and student members and inviting guests. Thank you everyone for being with us this night. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now for the national anthem, I'll kindly request everyone to rise.
अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे